All right, I guess this brings us then, Will, to the iPad Pro?
Yeah.
Are we at the iPad Pro moment? All right, iPad Pro gets M1. Previously had these upgraded mobile names. They're like, let's just call it M1. We want people to view this thing as a computer. It is as capable as the MacBooks, obviously different operating system, but it is as capable from a hardware perspective. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just slap an M1 in there. So the iPad Pro is now sets itself apart from the rest of the iPad lineup far more significantly. They added Thunderbolt to it. Big deal for myself. I'm a Thunderbolt fan. Mega throughput. And if they really truly want people to use this as an editing tool, as a production tool, that throughput was key to get that Thunderbolt on there for the transferring of large file sizes. Maybe it's raw images, maybe it's video files. The display also went into mini LED. This is a huge improvement, all right? This technology with local dimming is going to give us a far better contrast ratio, something more similar to like an OLED style experience. All right, that's a bonus. And it's a huge improvement when they actually said the number of LEDs compared to the previous model. And you actually saw the demonstration of what that's going to mean for the content that you're watching. We know it's going to be faster. We know it's going to have faster graphics. They had people on there from LumaFusion. They had people on there from Adobe talking about Photoshop, showing all the extra capabilities now that you got this horsepower. Liquid Retina XDR display, best and brightest. They're saying 1,000 nits of full screen brightness and 1,600 nits of peak brightness. That's the 12.9 inch model. They will still do an 11 inch model as well. They talked about their very own cameras and actually demonstrated a front-facing camera feature similar to a little robot AI camera that we featured recently, which will actually, I think they called it Center Stage. It will actually track you in a video conference around a particular space by zooming into a certain section. Of course, that's going to be using a crop in order to achieve that. 5G is now on board. You kind of saw this coming. I mean, the phones have it. And this is one advantage, I suppose, that those iPads are going to have over the MacBook types. Now, when you're doing that MacBook Air to iPad Pro comparison that so many people ask me about, you're going to say, well, do you need to be always connected? Do you hate having to tether or create a hotspot of sorts? If so, maybe you want to gravitate now towards the iPad Pro because it has the 5G built in, and we all know the capabilities and the bandwidth that exists over there. Of course, Wi-Fi 6 is on board. The cameras that I mentioned previously, they said huge improvements, particularly on the ultra-wide. Here's the center stage functionality that I had mentioned. It will track you around the room through a crop. Still fun for people. I mean, this is one of those things that, as far as the modern world is concerned, this is the future we're living in.
Yes.
Everyone's got to upgrade their streams because they're stepping out of frame.
Yeah.
And they're in the kitchen and they're very happy and good looking, like those people up there. Just like you, just like us, Willie, do. That could have been us, and people wouldn't have noticed the difference.
It's a great time.
We can chop cauliflower.
Sure, yeah.
I mean,
it's orange.
I mean, I got a shirt that's that color. I can pull it off, right?
Yeah,
no?
Sure.
Come on.
Go for it.
120 hertz ProMotion. Maybe click the tech specs so we can round it out for the iPad Pro. M1 is the biggest news by far. So 11-inch, 12.9. Oh, yes. Available with storage now up to 2 terabytes. Big time local storage. The target here is the pro photographer. They're now moving huge raw information off of a camera onto an iPad. They have Thunderbolt to work with, so it's fast. And now it's like, well, how many images can I store and have at my disposal immediately? Up to 2 terabytes. If you want to pay for it, I don't even want to look at that price. I'm sure you're going to click it in a moment here. 11-inch is 1.03 pounds for the Wi-Fi model, 1.5 pounds for the 12.9 12.9-inch, and then it goes up ever so slightly, 0.1 pound if you want to add the cellular, 5G capable. Buttons and connectors, it's a similar layout. You have 3 microphones. The speaker setup I've already talked about in the past. Type-C, thank God, Thunderbolt 4, 20-watt USB Type-C charging. Let's see, pixel density, 264 ppi on the big model and 264 ppi on the small model. Of course, you have more pixels on the big model, however. And 600 nits of max brightness on both, although you get slightly more specific on the 12.9-inch, suggesting 1600 nits peak brightness HDR. So not a 1-to-1 display and a 1,000,000-to-1 contrast ratio, not in the same display technology in both of these devices. The 12.9 has gotten some extra attention. The M1 chip has an 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU. Obviously, this is well known at this point. Can we view the pricing? Do we dare look at the pricing here? Oh my goodness. What are they? They want us to pay monthly. That should scare you on its own.
Finance it.
From $799 for the 11-inch and from $1099. Oh yeah, okay. So the XDR aspect is only for the 12.9 and it's from $1099. Now let's see the max price 12.9-inch that we can rig up for ourselves. Yeah, put a 2 TB on it. It's no big deal. With the cellular, because we want to find $2,400 iPad. Woo! Woo-hoo! Ah. Don't lose that. You better put an air tag on that one.
Yeah, just slap it on the back.
You don't need it because you had to find my stuff. You're in the ecosystem. If you're dropping $2,400, on an iPad Pro, you're deep in the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what. Now, this one is the same thing for availability, end of the month, right? And then when do they say you can expect it? Midway through May? Same thing? I don't know. I presume, if I recall correctly, it was around that. I think you probably got to go back to the top to get that info. There we go. Order 4/30, so order on the 30th of April and available in the second half of May. So, what can we say? A lot happened. We were there. Tim was there. And we got to both enjoy the production aspect, the Hollywood aspect of Apple's event on April 20th.
The tomfoolery.
The tomfoolery and the Tom Cruisery.
Sure.
As far as coming through the roof and all the rest of it, looking for an M1. Apple knows its customer at this point. They're becoming content geniuses, what they're putting together at these events. They're making these events like must-watch stuff for the tech community, and everybody else must be sitting around saying, dear God, what do we got to do? Who do we got to hire? Kind of crew we got to put to? Who we keep these people on staff all the time? We got to pay for a Hollywood production crew. What do? They just chill when we don't have an event? And you know they're going to be able to take all this content, chop it up, and throw it into commercials and let everybody know.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to know about these new iMac.
What are you most excited for to just play around with?
The new remote for the... No, I think to pull that new iMac out of the box, because I've had iMacs over the years.
Yeah, it's
and
the whole experience.
Just to see how that slim little thing on a stand, it's just going to be a bit different. So I would definitely put that at the top. I put the iPad next and then the Apple TV before that. But either way, it's kind of what we expected as far as the event was concerned. Like we got everything that we were expecting to see, no big surprises. But what is it? I mean, it's Apple has found their groove. They know how to speak to their customer directly. They know how to put on an entertaining show. They know how to make a transition or two. And they know how to make a product or two. And when you put that entire package together, you know what you get to do? You get to charge some money for all that. Mm-hmm.